We're looking at maternal haplogroups, and we can trace it all back in time to one woman.
This is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
I can't believe that we're allowed to be here.
I've never been overseas ever in my life.
I didn't realize how integral this part of the world was to all of humanity.
I feel so lucky. This is insane.
So remember that time we all took 23andMe genetic tests? Yeah! In addition to finding out where our recent ancestors are from, we also found out where our distant ancestors are from. So we all have different haplogroups, and that means that our distant ancestors can be traced back to different regions of the world. But every person living today, including you, can trace their haplogroups back even further to one common haplogroup known as L. The L haplogroup lived in eastern sub-Saharan Africa over 150,000 years ago. While we don't know exactly where in eastern sub-Saharan Africa they would have lived, we decided to travel to the region of the world where they would have existed. It's the Ladylike Show, and we're traveling to Kenya! Woo! Y'all, we're going to Kenya! Yeah! This is really exciting because I don't know if you guys know or not, but I've never traveled overseas. So this is absolutely gonna be a huge check mark on my bucket list. Getting to know myself more is perfect for this trip because Africa is most definitely an extension of who I am. And the results that I got back from the 23andMe test were a bit broad. In regards to haplogroups, especially L and how it relates to all of us, I feel like Kenya is an awesome starting point.
Yeah. The originator of the L haplogroup would have lived in sub-Saharan Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa is like huge. There's like multiple countries, there's so many different types of people, there's so many different cultures within that descriptor. So we chose Kenya because we were able to reach out to some scientists at the National Museum of Kenya.
Also, just as a general disclaimer, the scientific community uses the term paternal and maternal to delineate who gave birth. We all understand that when we say maternal, not everyone that gives birth identifies as a woman, so just FYI.
There's gonna be a lot of science on this trip, but we also wanna have a little fun.
So we are gonna hang out with the girls from the Over 25 channel. They're also a group of creators who are ladies. We're also gonna see animals.
1, 2, 3.
Kenya! So we need to wear clothes that are lighter in color.
Why do we have to wear light colors?
Because mosquitoes love to bite people wearing dark colors. And I hate mosquitoes.
Yep, so these are like my little going-out slacks.
Ooh, cute.
Pale pink with like pale pink little shirt.
Cute. I bought 1, 2, 3 pairs of linen pants. My pants collection is now up to 5 pairs.
Wow.
I know, it more than doubled overnight.
He's not playing with these mosquitoes. He looks like he's going to a Diddy yacht party. And then I got some pants from the thrift store. It's debatable if these are pajamas or not, but I'm gonna make it fashion.
It's sleep, but make it fashion.
Packing for Africa. Needless to say, I'm a little stressed. At the same time, I'm trying to remember that I'm gonna forget about this the moment I see an elephant.
What are you doing, bud?
I have some freeze-dried olives and some Taco Bell mild sauce. You can say what you want about Taco Bell, but they've got some good sauces.
Devin and I are also rooming together, and since I am very regular, I am bringing poopery.
The great thing about packing is that it's a wonderful opportunity to remind yourself how wonderful you are at remembering things. Like, I made a lot of lists to remind myself of the things that I need, but I'm probably still gonna leave, like, my butt at home.
Today's the day.
We're here!
Off to a momentous start.
We're walking to check in. It still doesn't feel real.
It doesn't feel real. It's not gonna feel real until we're there, and then it's gonna feel the most real.
The most real, exactly.
So I want to take this opportunity to talk to you about airport fashion, because it is my belief that you should dress in essentially pajamas when you're going to the airport. However, young Fred has to look cute.
Don't you? Rocks with socks.
You can't talk. You're wearing a beautiful dress.
In one step. Step 1, dress. Step 2, walk away. I've been thinking about it, and I think I'm gonna take off my bra during the flight.
I support that.
I support it too.
Great. I'm glad
No pun intended.
I'm glad we voted. I'm taking my bra off.
Oh, cool. I'm not even wearing one.
Kristen and I took the first Polaroid of the trip. Here it is developing.
All right, here we go. We're taking off.
Hey, we're in Amsterdam. Can you give me some weed?
Got her.
We're stuck at the airport because our flight's delayed because of a storm. But Jen is having a good time trying to figure out what Amsterdam Tinder is like.
A lot of names I can't pronounce.
I love this country. Let's buy some tulips and cheese.
Oh my god, yeah. Yes, Kenya? Yes, we're on the way. They're expecting us.
Made it. After how many hours?
22.
We knew we were getting Land Cruisers, but we did not realize this was the kind of Land Cruiser we were getting, and it's super cool.
It's like a safari cruiser.
So dope. It is 2:17 in the morning, and we have decided to have a nightcap at the hotel. Ooh, thank you.
So nice to see you. You're my favorite. You're my favorite thing I've ever encountered. Oh my God.
So it's the first day officially in Kenya.
Top of the morning.
Top of the morning. How are y'all feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling energized. I feel hydrated.
You look good, Freddie. You look good. Yeah, you're fucking ready to go.
I'm ready. Great. We're here. We made it. Yes. Last night, we landed at about 11:30 p.m. with Sam. So tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're here.
Sure. So I'm a content and curation scientist at 23andMe, and I'm just really excited to be here talking with you guys about DNA and women and haplogroups and all these other crazy things.
My question is, we hear the word haplogroup a lot in terms of our 23andMe results and also why we're here. What is a haplogroup?
When people think of DNA, they're typically thinking about DNA that's found inside the nucleus of the cell. But the DNA that holds the sort of ancient genetic information that we use to identify maternal haplogroups is found in the mitochondria of the cell. The DNA that's in this mitochondria is called mitochondrial DNA. Big surprise. You might have heard this before. They're the powerhouses of the cell.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing anyone remembers from biology.
Yeah. What scientists have been able to do is trace all the way back over 100,000 years ago to the common female line ancestor of everyone who's alive on Earth today.
100,000 years ago?
Yep.
That's insane.
Yeah. Wow.
That's so cool.
Wow.
What is the significance of the L haplogroup?
From what we know about the L haplogroup, it's the kind of main haplogroup within the continent of Africa. There was this woman over 100,000 years ago. At some point she had at least 2 daughters, and one of those daughters was forming this branch that we now call L0, and the other daughter formed this branch that was all the rest of the L's. And then many thousands of years later, one of those great-great-great-granddaughters, she had 2 daughters, and that started splitting into the rest of the people that we see outside of Africa.
So basically, we are all descendants from the one woman who started the L haplogroup.
That's right, but because it is so far back in time, it's not really the same as saying, you know, my great-grandma lived in Africa and I'm her descendant. It's like the ancient lineage of all humans who are alive today, and it is traced to Africa because that's where modern humans kind of first evolved.
So just so everyone is clear, we're not all from Africa. Don't leave this video saying that.
So now that we know a little bit more about the science behind haplogroups, we're gonna go talk to some anthropologists, and they're gonna tell us a little bit more about how these women live.
So cool.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freddie's just over here in a corner striking a cool pose.
Always.
And then bopping around is Kristen.
Always bopping.
Bopping keeps me alive.
So we're here at the National Museum of Kenya with Dr. Boa. Hi, Dr. Boa.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Dr. Mbua, and I'm a paleoanthropologist interested in the study of human evolution.
So where in Africa do you think the mitochondrial Eve would have been living?
In Eastern Africa, we have the evidence from the fossils. They found that people living in Eastern Africa today, their mitochondrial DNA, points, to that mother 200,000 years ago. I don't know whether you understand all that science.
I love that you're basing that off of my face. You know.
So in terms of like bone structure and bodies and how we look today, how different is that from the mitochondrial Eve's bone structure and her sort of makeup?
The evidence that there is, looking at the postcrania, the limb bones, mitochondria might have had our bone features.
Why was human development around 200,000 years ago such a critical period?
There was a big debate, to the questions of where did modern humans arise from. That's where they went to the studies of modern mitochondrial DNA of the living people. Therefore, after obtaining all those samples, they were able to calculate back which one, had more diversity in it. So there were less diversity in the DNA of the European, less diversity in East Asia, but more diversity was found in Africa, meaning that it had been here for long. This evidence of the mitochondrial DNA supports Africa as the place of modern humans.
Wow, I have chills.
Wow,
Yeah, that's so cool.
Did she suffer from the patriarchy like we do?
That's basically what we're
First full day in Nairobi.
So we are at Carnivore, about to have dinner.
Carnivore is this badass restaurant, and they have all types of meat and game. What you drinking?
I actually don't know what
It's called a dawa.
And there's vodka and honey and lime.
Yes. The guy sold it to us as African medicine.
Ooh.
I was like, I could use a doctor right now.
So I was wearing my shirt backwards for most of the day, and I fixed it. The end. All the interviews we've done, most of what we shot, was wearing my shirt backwards. So we've invited the girls from over 25 to come have dinner with us. We are super excited to hang with them. Hold on, my drink is, I'm grabbing my drink. We're having drinks made into us while we're shooting.
We're really excited to try all the cool meats they have.
Meats.
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 Is there any vegetarian? Vegetarian? You get the menu for that.
Apparently this cocktail is original to this restaurant.
Anywhere you go, ask, they'll give you a dawa. Really? It's born here.
Wow. It's effective. It's been a long day and I have a high tolerance.
I love you, G!
Meats. 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 Meats.
There are 4 different kinds of meats on my plate.
Yes.
I haven't juggled so many meats since college.
Oh, wow. I can't handle you.
I wish I had more sausage.
Crocodile is the white one, and rabbit is the darker one.
I have yummy lentils. What didn't you eat? I can't eat rabbit, but I eat everything else.
Ostrich, crocodile, rabbit, lamb, turkey. I've been trying to mess with this camera all night. I have been successful twice.
So Ivy was complimenting my hair, and she asked me if I got it done here, and I said no, I got it done in Los Angeles, and then she gasped. This hairstyle here in Nairobi would have been $20 top. American dollars. And I paid $200 American dollars.
10 times. What? If you want to come get your hair done, get it done in Kenya.
Yeah.
At 4 o'clock.
At 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Really? So like people just can't live without their 4 o'clock tea?
Yeah, and Kenyans drink more tea than coffee.
Really?
Yeah, like actual tea. Like actual tea. Milk.
Freddy's gonna eat some balls.
The balls are already in Devin's mouth.
The ball's in your court, Fred.
Oh!
I keep spinning.
So we are finishing up dinner. Lorna's gonna come shopping with us tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm the haggler.
Yeah. I am awful at haggling. Someone's like, do you want to pay $85? And I'm like, maybe 100?
Day 2 in Nairobi. We are starting the morning off very early at 6:30 a.m. Nairobi time. We are gonna go get breakfast, and then we're gonna go to the elephant orphanage, and then we're gonna go into the city and do some shopping. Very, very excited. Oh, it's so much fun here. I love it.
Moses, our server, told me this was his favorite. Chai just means tea.
It's what
Yeah, that's what we learned.
We learned that yesterday.
In America, we'll say chai tea because it's like a type of tea, but here, chai is just tea with milk in it. Did you bring you milk?
He did bring me milk. That means Mama needs a latte.
Oh boy.
Hi, Regina.
I get really car sick, so I make everyone else sit in the back.
Yeah.
So I can sit in the front so I don't vom.
I've had 3 hours of sleep. Just arrived at the elephant orphanage.
These are elephants that have been orphaned for various different reasons. They are being rehabilitated to go back out into the wild. So their main goal is not to be with humans for the rest of their life. Their main goal is to be with other elephants.
Yeah, but they did tell us that if we want to, we could foster a baby elephant.
We're gonna bring him home with us and it'll be easy.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
He'll get along great with James.
Yeah.
It's really important that we conserve these animals, and I think we're mindful of the fact that like the circumstances under which they're here are not good.
Yeah, and we're just here to give some love. This is like a Studio Ghibli film. All the animals and like the beautiful landscape. Oh, he's peeing right now. Good for him.
Good job. Nice work, buddy.
Edwin is my name, and this is the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. So this project is taking care of orphan baby elephants and orphan baby rhinos, and later on reintroducing them back into the wild. And that's why all the babies that you're going to see here today are orphans.
You guys, are you ready?
So ready.
So ready.
Never be ready.
We rescue them from different parts of the country, and they all have different reasons for being orphans. The babies are still very young. They're an age where they do not have survived without the mother's milk, and also without protection against other dangers. They will be trained, they will be protected, and so will behave like any other wild elephant out there. When we see that happen, then we set them free and let them become wild once again. And once they finish the milk, then they are relaxed and calm, and so you can interact with them. Make sure that you don't scream and shout. That makes them get overexcited. They all have different characters. Some are very social and friendly. They want to stick to you and play with you. Some are very shy. They might want to stay away from you. And a few of them have a naughty character.
Oh!
They might want to come and push you around. They all have names. The youngest that will come down here is 8 months old. The oldest is approximately 7 years old.
Do you have a favorite?
All of them.
They're all your children.
They're everywhere. I love it.
What you doing? You look like you're kissing.
What's going on over there? Making some noises. Oh, yeah.
That's a fart.
So these elephants are the sweetest ever. They have such different personalities. Some are really rowdy, some are really friendly and calm, and some are super shy. I mean, I'm just surprised that they're even just letting us be around them.
Little baby likes my dress a little bit too much. We had a little yum yum.
Hey, look at that one. He's rolling on the ground. Oh, he's all playful. Good job, buddy.
This is amazing. There's nothing like being around elephants. They're so smart, they're so aware, they know completely what's going on. I can't imagine why anyone would want to hurt them. We're just lucky to be in the same place as them.
Devin, how are you feeling?
I am in heaven. I got sprayed on. I'm one with the elephants.
It's just an honor to be here.
It really is an honor to be here. Like, we are blessed and honored.
Yeah.
I might cry.
Yeah.
That's because I'm a big elephant baby myself.
Ultimately, I think the overwhelming feeling is that we're all really grateful to be here and thankful that we get to be in the presence of these animals because they're special.
That was incredible.
That was amazing. It was really awesome just to see these animals in their space where we were the guests. These are little babies and they're orphans, and so a lot of them have had a really, really rough start to life, but there's still so much joy that they have. They still play, they still, you know, snort, they still bully, they still love their milk.
Yeah.
They fart.
They do fart.
Freddie got farted on.
It's like humans were once able to coexist with these animals, and I think it's really important that we learn how to coexist with them again, because they are like an incredibly important part of our world.
Thank you so much to the David Sheldrick Trust. We are so grateful that we were able to be here and hang out with baby elephants.
And thank you for all you do. I mean, this is just, it's a blessing to be here, and it's a blessing to all the animals that are able to get help.
We just finished. And now we gotta go clean ourselves up.
Yep.
Because I got this on my nose.
Devin was in there. All up in there.
On your back pocket, you have a phone-shaped dust stain.
So we have to go clean up before we go shopping. That's for damn sure.
Just Devin's full body. Devin's dust stain.
Hi.
So we're going shopping.
Shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the amazing Lorna
She'll help
here.
us.
She's gonna help us navigate.
I might buy a teapot.
I left a lot of room in my suitcase for all of the various things that I will take home with me.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yep.
Woo!
Well, we're here.
It's very different, and there's a lot of options. So I'm just trying to figure out what I absolutely need and want, as opposed to like buying every awesome thing that I see.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
I'm looking for like postcards
Yeah.
and maybe like a hat. Also maybe like a cool little like keychain or something.
So Ivy and I stuck together through this whole adventure. She is the best barterer.
Thanks. I see deals everywhere.
I would be like, Ivy, is this a good price? She's like, I can hackle for days. What price do you want?
Kathy got me these cool braid jewels. We're matching twins.
I'm just shopping around, and whatever I don't want, I'll just put back.
So cute. So now I have 3. And I have a bangle as well. And a scarf for my mom. Mom, I bought you something, so don't complain. Thank you. You have been very helpful.
Yeah. I'm just happy you got that and you got what you wanted.
Oh yeah, I did.
Kathy and I also got matching bracelets. Shopaholics. We love it.
I got a little bird. I also got a little bit of salad spoons for my roommate.
We got so many spoils.
So much stuff.
We got some nice stuff.
Ivy got us these beautiful keychains with our names on them.
I got a bunch of these bracelets.
This
is my favorite item, guys.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Wow. And I got one just like hers.
Tank tops need them.
This is the SS Paradise. This is your captain speaking. We're on our way to Savo. Let's buckle in, everyone. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. We said a lovely goodbye to Regina the cat. China!
She would not leave Kristen alone. She would not. I didn't want to say goodbye or hello to her.
She just wants Kristen. I'm actually so glad I have that footage.
I'm so glappy.
We bought hats.
We bought hats because we realized we didn't have hats. So we fixed that problem.
Yeah.
And bought hats.
And we bought hats.
What? Wow. Oh.
You don't know.
Wow.
So we are at Severn Safari Park. I just want to introduce you guys to my new friend, Vacation Kristen.
What up, friend?
Kristen is wearing her big sunglasses.
I am. My big sunglasses, and I'm also wearing shorts because it is very warm and I am enjoying the scenery.
Yeah, I mean, this is a view from our porch.
Like, take every Girl Scout camp you went to that you thought was like kind of fun and then make it 100 times more fun and then add animals.
The ride here was probably about 5.5-ish hours. And when we got here, we were all super tired and smelly, but just like in awe.
Yeah, we're in awe of both this beautiful place and how incredibly bad we smell.
We're gonna go meet up with Sam and check in with her and talk a little bit about these past few days and about what we're doing in this wonderful, beautiful, amazing place.
Hi, Sam.
Hey.
Ladylike. So we talked to Dr. Mbua about mitochondrial Eve. Can you maybe give us like a little bit more information about what that means?
Definitely. We're looking at maternal haplogroups, and we can trace it all back in time to one woman. So that one woman is mitochondrial Eve. But then there's a couple caveats to that. When we use the term mitochondrial Eve, it's sort of an easy way to help people understand that this was a real woman, a real human being who gave rise, in a sense, to everyone who's around today. And in what's, I think, the most important point here is that she was absolutely not the only woman alive at that time, and she was also not the only woman to pass on genetic information or genes or DNA to future generations.
So to clarify, mitochondrial Eve was not the only woman that existed around the time that she existed.
Exactly, you got it.
Hers was just the only ones that could be traced?
Yes.
So I like to fall down Wikipedia K-holes, and one thing I love to research is actually the oldest buildings in existence.
You do, you sure do.
There are many, many buildings that are very old. So it's kind of like we know that there is an oldest building in existence, but that doesn't mean that that's the only building that existed at the time.
Sure.
It's just the one that we can trace for sure is the oldest one right now.
Because we can still physically see it and
Yeah.
identify it.
There might be another building that's crazy old that's like under the sea or something that we don't know about yet.
Sure.
Atlantis. Why is it that mitochondrial DNA is only passed down through the parent that gives birth? Like why is Eve the only one that gets to like shoot that stuff down?
Eggs actually have a huge number of mitochondria in them, something like 100,000. Sperm actually might only have on the order of like 50 to 100. So that's one possibility.
So it's like buying a lot of lottery tickets.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the egg bought a bunch of lottery tickets and the sperm bought like 2.
Yeah. Another possibility though that is enticing, but we haven't really proven it yet, the eggs themselves might be destroying the mitochondria that come from the sperm.
A murder mystery.
So tomorrow's gonna be a big day for us. We're gonna go on safari and then we're gonna go to the Shitani lava caves and we're gonna kind of like dive into and try to figure out why we should care about this stuff now.
We're gonna find out.
Let's do it.
And today, we're going on a safari! It's really early in the morning. You have to get up at the crack of dawn to see all the amineals. Devin just saw zebras this morning outside of our tent.
Yep.
And we saw a wildebeest last night just staring at us.
It's wild.
It's wild.
It's pretty wild.
Truly wild.
This is probably the brightest color I've worn since I've been here. I saved it for Safari Day so I can have a little pop of color for Papa Lion.
So tell us a little bit, Angela, about this art that we see on the walls. Like, how long ago were these made?
We do not have a definite date for how long the art was made. We use relative dating. Relative dating to say that these finds were found with this art so they must have been contemporaneous. Some of this art is quite enigmatic, as you can see. Those ones look like aliens, actually.
They do. And one of the guys is excited. Yeah, he definitely has a little pain.
There was no writing then, but they make a very good record of what was going on around them. In terms of their cognitive abilities, they were pretty much like us.
Yes, graceful bitches. This is so cool. It's ridiculous.
He's just chin-chilling.
Oh, Kristen, you did not.
They're like hamburgers, but furry.
Is this the first hyena we've seen?
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen. He started walking towards our car.
When someone said that we were going on a safari, I had no idea we were getting out of the car.
I also didn't know we were getting out of the car. Hence why I am wearing a dress.
Look at holding her baby. Good job, Mama. There's the food right there. And there's this monkey trying to be nonchalant.
Casual.
He's real casual monkey.
Oh my God! Whoa. Whoa.
So we had to eat in the car because the little monkeys keep trying to steal our food. And they just jumped on the hood.
Yeah,
And they jumped into my body. And before I knew it, there was a monkey right here trying to get into my bugs. And I screamed.
I've always been afraid of monkeys, and this is why. This monkey's just, you know, beating his meat. Out. What is he doing?
I think we know what he's doing.
They are smart. Like,
Yeah, and swift.
They know how to send distractions so that they can get our food.
Yeah. Literally, I couldn't decide if this is my most favorite animal or my least favorite animal, and I can definitively tell you it is my least favorite animal.
So that sign says, do not feed monkeys. And now we know why.
I feel like we're getting surround sound of crickets right now.
Yeah, this is crickets in 4K.
I am glad I peed before we got here though, because that rushing water would have knocked my lunch right out.
It's really cool to see all this untouched space. And when you think about back in the States, like there are really beautiful areas, but I think sometimes we can't help to expect that they won't be there for long just because of all of the development.
So we begin about 40,000 years ago, where we have the oldest ostrich eggshell beads that have been found in Kenya so far.
Is an ostrich eggshell like pretty fragile?
It is, yes. So that tells you about the people who were making those shells, their cognitive abilities, and the fact that they knew how to deal with this material to prevent it from breaking up.
Yeah.
Yes. In the old times, we think that beads may have served more than one reason. They may have been used as a form of currency. Some of them have been transported from very far in places where ostriches do not live. So then you must have had to buy either the beads or the ostrich eggshell in order to make the beads. So the question obviously has been, were the beads made by men or by women?
Did men wear these beads also?
They are worn by both sexes.
It's a hippo walk with Jen and Kristen and Chantel. Hey! Walking to see some hippos.
Where we're going, you can go into kind of like an underwater viewing, and then we're hoping that we can see some hippos there.
Yeah.
Like hippos and like some crocodiles.
Yeah, but
Be crazy.
we were told we are not allowed to scream because it'll scare some animals and they might attack us. Problem is, I love to scream. I will kill you from the afterlife. Well, nice try, Kristen.
Because I'm already dead.
I'm already dead.
There's all the poop. I mean, that's how you know how we've been.
Can't wait to come out to those elephants next.
So we're walking down the path towards the underwater viewing, but we already see hippos just kind of like sitting. We're walking, and then there was a crocodile there.
Yeah, the only thing that distinguished him from the rocks were the texture.
Like his tail, you can see the spikes on his tail.
And they said it's probably a male based on size.
Okay, we're going down in here. This water is so blue.
It's so blue, it kind of reminds me of vacation. And like, I feel like anytime I see this kind of blue water, it's like, ooh, perfect for frolicking. Let's get some pics in the water. But like, this is not that kind of situation at all. This is
danger water.
Danger water.
This is the crocodile show, and we are merely audience members.
So here we have stone tools that have been done with a lot of skill and ingenuity.
So those are projectiles, like something they would have thrown?
These are projectiles, but this kind of community were very innovative in that they were able to find some ochre and some other gum, mix it together, make a very strong adhesive or glue. They can use this to haft it into a piece of wood and then use it as a projectile tool, either to ward off enemies, fight a predator.
They had to think about how they could make something that was aerodynamic and also effective at a distance.
which is better than we could do today.
So they were smart.
And even more recently now we have evidence of coaliatory violence.
Would you say like the men and women in the society, they both fought?
From what we have, we see men, even women being victims of this kind of violence, and even women also fight in hunting using these projectile points. So it's not only what we constitute from our gender-specific roles.
Could you imagine having to like find your lunch in this place?
It's nuts.
It's like trying to go through a McDonald's drive-thru, but there's a crocodile in the drive-thru.
Right. Like you have obstacles.
There are obstacles. I mean, honestly, mitochondrial Eve had to have been a pretty badass human in order to stay alive long enough to give us like the mutations that we have.
Exactly. I can't imagine kind of just being here in this environment 200,000 years ago with no real direction as to how to survive and just having to just figure it out.
Not even knowing what these animals are.
Yeah, not knowing.
How we're just like, oh yeah, that's a hippo, that's a crocodile, but it's like...
And then knowing like who's predator, who's prey, who's most dangerous. Like that's... It's insane.
If your environment is super diverse, you as a human have to adapt as well. That shows how strong mitochondrial Eve really was.
We're on Poacher's Lookout right now.
We can see Kilimanjaro from here. You can see the snow on top of it. This is not something that you can typically see. Just a very clear day. Right, Kristen?
Yeah, this is a special treat for some special ladies.
Ooh. So Sam, we've been exploring all day. It's got me thinking, what is the significance of knowing a maternal haplogroup in modern day society?
Do you guys know about King Richard III?
Oh yeah, Shakespeare.
Shakespeare, right. Up until a few years ago, they had no idea where he was buried. And there was a parking lot in Leicester, England, and they found this old tomb, and there was a skeleton inside this tomb. So when they looked at the mitochondrial DNA of the skeleton, and they compared it to female line descendants of, say, his grandmother or something like this, or a cousin on the maternal side, there was a match.
Oh,
and so they were able to confirm with a very high degree of certainty that the skeleton did belong to King Richard III. Mitochondrial DNA and haplogroups and sort of understanding how that all fits together can fill in a lot of the gaps in history.
The cradle of life.
Cradle of humanity.
Wow.
Let's go down in this cave.
Yeah, let's go.
Actually, no one's going in the cave. There are thousands of bats in 2 hornets' nests, so we are not going in the cave.
Oh, come on.
No one's going in the cave.
Mom.
Don't do hornets. No one is going in. You guys are back from seeing the bats.
So we abandoned the others.
Yeah, we left them to die.
We left them for dead. It smelled like absolute ass.
Well, you guys did go into a hole in the ground full of bats.
That's awful. I don't know if I was expecting that smell.
I told you thousands of bats.
I thought it would smell good. It circles around, so they're actually going to come out at a different side and meet us. So they're probably alive and fine. They're fine.
So we actually wound up going down into the cave, and it was awesome.
It was really cool. It smelled like like really bad.
Like cat pee, basically, because the bats poop and pee all over the place.
Yeah, but it was really beautiful. If I were a human living 250,000 years ago, I definitely would have lived in that cave, just because you could build a fire, you're safe from the elements, and no leopards are gonna get you in there.
No leopards.
Whoa. So we just saw our first elephant in the actual wild.
It was so special. Yeah. It was a young bull, so like a guy elephant. He was just by himself looking for his ladies.
Yeah, Tim said that once the men reach maturity, they kind of break off from the herd. So he was alone, but all the women stick together, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Tim also told us that they're a matriarchal society and that the older, wiser woman or female elephant leads the pack since she knows the ropes of everything. And Hollywood should take a leaf from their books, okay?
The last hour and a half we've been on dirt roads that are really bumpy. You have moments where you're driving in the countryside and you see like beautiful animals and you're thinking like, wow, like this is dope. So like ultimately it's a good experience. I think it's just in the moment, it's turns some stomachs upside down.
So excited for the beach!
My butt is so sweaty.
What does my hair look like right now?
It looks great.
Wow. Really?
It's just, you've got volume. You've got a lot of volume.
I have volume.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful mop.
We've got another 40 kilometers on this road, which we don't really know what that translates to, since sometimes we drive really fast when it's smoother and sometimes we drive really slow. We'll see how long 40 kilometers takes.
Almost there. Yay! We are now descending down towards
And lunch.
And lunch.
I don't even know what to say. Worth the drive? Yes, absolutely worth the drive.
What if we missed our flight tomorrow?
Can't do that.
Look at this view and this beach.
That drive was starting to seem like there was no light at the end of the tunnel, but alas, there is.
Very speechless right now. It smells like a beach, and that's like perhaps the greatest thing anyone could ever smell right now.
I can confidently say I've never been to any place this gorgeous before in my entire life. Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead. Look who's here. Hi, friend. Hi, boo-boo.
So last morning in Kenya, it's beautiful outside.
We're very grateful and changed and probably better people for having been here.
Yeah, I don't think we want to go home.
No.
I don't.
We're about to go film on this beach and say goodbye to Kenya. We are here, it's our last morning in Kenya. We're at Diani Beach.
This has been a jam-packed trip.
Yes, it truly has.
Yeah, I mean, we started off in Nairobi. We met with some experts at the National Museum of Kenya, and they taught us so much. And then we also met with the over 25 girls. They were a highlight.
We saw elephants in that orphanage, and then we also saw them completely out in the wild. It was apparently really rare to see them where we saw them.
And then we drove 6 hours to Tsavo National Park, where we were really up close and personal with all the wildlife and the environment. And then we took an 8-hour drive to Diani Beach, which is where we are now. It's been a trip full of so many experiences that I don't think any of us will ever forget.
So Sam, what have you learned on this trip?
I learned not to have food out by monkeys.
Yeah,
We all learned that.
big takeaway.
I talked to those anthropologists at the National Museum of Kenya. Kind of learning about the culture and the way these people lived was a really powerful experience for me.
I learned that to be a person who would give rise to all humans who currently exist, you had to be pretty good at lots of things that we are probably not good at. I think it's fascinating to note there was like a person this many thousands of years ago who was so smart and great at surviving that like we get a chance to experience this land and this place too.
You can read about Kenya, you can see pictures of Kenya, but it's so different to actually touch down. It's really unlike anything else because you really can't fully even begin to absorb it until you're actually here.
One thing that really boggled my mind is the timeline of human history. Like mitochondrial Eve might have lived over 100,000 years ago, and while we've evolved so much throughout the years, this land is still very much present.
We went to Kenya, and like that is one piece of where she could have lived, mitochondrial Eve. And like sub-Saharan Africa in itself is huge. And we just saw a small part of something even huger. Just very grateful for everything that we saw and did because what an amazing, amazing time.
Something that really struck me in Nairobi was when Dr. Mbua was explaining to us that people from different continents just sort of arose from that continent. But with further studying and learning about haplogroups, we learned that everyone did indeed come from Africa.
The human species is on the one hand very diverse, but on the other hand, if you compare it to other species like chimpanzees, we are very not diverse. We're all incredibly similar genetically speaking. And so it's really popular these days to find out where you're from, to look at your genetics, and we comb through it to find these tiny differences that can say, oh, maybe your ancestors came from this place or yours came from this place. But the bigger picture is that humans are so similar genetically, and it is actually really difficult to find those small differences.
I've never been overseas ever in my life, so this is something that I'm really excited to check off my bucket list and even more excited to do it with you guys.
Yeah. We're very grateful to 23andMe for sending us out there. Also very grateful for them for sending you because could not have had a better new friend.
Big thank you to everyone that made it happen. It was so much bigger than just us. And thank you to the people of Kenya because they've been so welcoming and really just embraced what we were trying to do.
A deep dive into the origins of modern humanity.
Lady tested.
Lady learned.
Yay! Let's go in the ocean.
Bye.
Let's jump in. We're gonna swim back home. Oh, shit.